it's not morning. Maybe you think it is morning when it's 10 o'clock before lunchtime, but I have been up for I wake up nowadays. I wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, and I go to sleep at midnight 0000 a military time. So I sleep 8 hours. That is very good. So I still can go to sleep, but then when I get my medicine, I take my medicine, and I take every morning. I take aspirin with the caffeine in it, and it starts the circulation in my body, so I wake up, and so I don't go back to bed after 8 o'clock. And then is it just now, I don't know what day, I don't know the day. It's Thursday, 28th, I think, July 28th, 2022. And so just now I wake up, I sleep 8 hours. That is very good for the body to be healed and the brain to be healed also. I was thinking about this with Roel Wallenberg that I talked about yesterday, and I have that picture in my mind. Sometimes it's coming to me. It shake me deep to get the image, the picture he gave me when he told me about the bird was fed much better than these people that was in the prison or camp. I don't really know if it was in prison or a camp, because I only see like a window, and it was it was net over it, but big space in it, and I could only see him standing there. And but what I saw, it was that those people that was outside and protect and kill them if they escape, and these things that the ward there, they feed the birds in front of those starving people's eyes. They see. I have a picture that is a man sitting outside that net, the window of net, and he sit and have bread in his hand, and then he threw it, cast it to the birds, and so they was fed. And those that was inside the camp or prison, they didn't get anything to eat. It's so very cruel. And I have had it in my mind, but I hope I can shake it off now. But it was going deep inside me, into my heart and in my mind, how cruel they were. And I know how many things they did. I have talked about it before in an episode when I was to Dachau. The first camp they built, and it should be 3,000 people there in the camp, and it become to be 30,000 people. So it was very full of people that die, and those that was showing they did this trick that it is very important to understand this. Not about what was going on in the Second World War. It's about the action, the event that took place. That is this with many things that is like political or in a belief system, what they are doing. And those, they didn't have horses, or they have no vehicle that could drive the wagon from the camp into the city and back. And so they use men to pull the carts, big carts. And those men was fed very well, and they were, I saw a picture of them, they were very muscles, and it looked like they were maybe more healthy than the people in the city that struggle with poverty, to not have food to eat. And they look like it's a great camp. Look at them, they are fed very well. But behind the scene, in the camp, there were people abused, terror and killing, murderer, and they burn up those bodies, corpse, and some people. It was, the camp was not in the city. It was outside, far away from a city, and the people in the city, they could say that sometimes they could smell a very strange smell of smoke coming out from that camp, from that direction. They couldn't see the camp, but from that direction where Dachau camp was. But I think God have done that to me, because I was in a school in a city, and at the bus stop there come smoke, and I know it was the cremation of people on the side of it, and the smoke come out from the chimney, and it was so ugly to standing and wait for the bus when the smoke was on that direction where I was standing, and I could feel this corpse was smoke up. So it was the same as I had. So I remember how it smelled. It was hardly to could even breathe because it smelled so ugly. And so sometimes they were thinking like that, but they were, of course, they were thinking that they burned something, not corpse, but they were burning something that smelled like some furniture or some fibers like that could maybe smell. So they shake it off, and when they saw this man pulling the cart, so they couldn't think it was something wrong going on in the camp. And so, normal people in that time, we should not be angry at them because they didn't understood. And as I say, they didn't check out the source where the smoke really come from and why the smoke smells so as it did. Those things. So those evil forces, they can go on because they built up a very nice picture for other people, but behind it, in behind the scene, there can many big error going on, evil things going on. And I am going to say this that I have said before, that before the terror attack, I was in United States before the terror attack in 2001, and before that, I could walk into a church, and I was like God was hiding me. But I was with bishops, pastors, those church people, leader of churches, and I don't know why they let me come with them. So I was, they didn't give me anything to eat, but I could sit in a corner and look at them when they eat, and it was fancy things, and sometimes it was they were drinking wine, and they spent very much money on doing fancy things for themselves and eat good and be on fancy restaurant. And I was in Israel one time. The second time I was in Israel, I was into this luxury hotel, very luxury hotel, and there they sit all these church leaders. I was in the cheapest hotel I could get, and it was messianic people that should come and bring and take me to their church, but they didn't want to go into that hotel. They didn't take contact with me. They did because I didn't have the money for them, and it was because I asked in the hotel if someone had called for me, and it was, they say that someone was calling and asked if you were staying in this hotel. So they check out that I was in the cheapest hotel you can get in Tel Aviv, and they didn't want to come and pick me up because I didn't have the money. So it's many things that going on behind the scene. Now I'm not so much. I have been in this party where the roots is from Nazis, and I wanted to see what's going on in that party. So I became a member 1 year, and I left after 1 year because I saw that they were still in Nazis thinking. They are saying that they are not Nazis, but they are, because they do things that is celebrating the Nazis days, and when we have meeting, they always was in a Germany restaurant and drinking and eating, and I was thinking that why do they go to that place where there is this from Munich beer place in our city? Why are they going there? Because people say they are Nazis party, but that make confirm that they are Nazis when they, why don't they go to a real Swedish place and drink and eat? Why do they go to the German place? These things, and that they celebrate everything that have with the Nazis to do. And I think I'm bad in time date, but maybe it was about 5 years ago I was there, so it's not very in the past. It was today, like today I was there, and I was in that party in 2000, year 2000, in the city where I lived in that time, and I was to their meeting. It was not, the party was still in the past party idea, and there were very Nazist old people talking very much like Nazis, and I feel no, never I want to be in that party. And then they change it to clean them up, they say. But what was cleaning was that those old Nazist people, they die away. So they clean up, and then they check out. It started to come to, we have to show up a police report that we were not criminal people. So they clean it up in that way. So they took away those that was in the paper at the police. They cleaned them up, clean away those people, those criminal, obviously criminals. But then after that, they have done many criminal things. But this is the third biggest party in Sweden. So this is one spirit come now, because what I'm going to say. They know already what I'm going to say. So they touch me. That and the spirit start to make me confused in my brain now. It was a bridge over one subject to another subject that I lose now, because I got touch of a spirit here. But it was this is the third party. Now I go back to where I was. They are the third party in Sweden. Yes, now, but it's sooner. It's 4 or 5 weeks left until we get election here in Sweden, and if they going to win, because people, they don't look at the source, they are only looking what they promise just now, what is popular to, it's about the gas price, for example, and they have showing, but first they're showing, but I think they have to take that away about, they ask, do you want to have a Sweden like this? And then it was about this Arabic people, men, young men, that throwing rocks on the police and ambulance and fire workers. I think they were not allowed to show it, but they did it in the beginning of this commercial about how good they were for Sweden. And ordinary people don't understand. They don't look deep. They are only looking what they are promised just now. And that was the same when Hitler come to be the leader of Germany. He promised very much things, and he did very much in the beginning to make it better for German people. But then the more power he got, the more evil he started to be, a mental sick he become. But in the beginning he was good, and people voted for him because they saw on the sure face it was good what Hitler promised. And this is the same thing, that this look nice on the outside, but inside there is going on evil agendas. So what the Spirit was coming and touch me, it was because I was on my way to say that if this party is going to win the election, I am going to Israel and stay there. I will never come back to Sweden again, because it's gonna be very bad in Sweden. And I have got more money, and I don't know where the money is coming from, but I know where it's coming from. The source is God, because He was telling me in His way to tell me that I should go to visit Israel for the 4th time. In His way to do it, I don't know how I can do it, because I don't have any vaccine in me, and the virus is COVID-19 is on its race now. It's gonna be, they say it's gonna be very bad in August, and in some way God will make me to come into Israel in His way to do it. It's not my way, and He have done it before, that I have coming in without, I should not have coming into those countries, but He have make me could come in. So I have faith in that God will make an opening for me to come into Israel. And I have told you that I don't I don't want to go back to homeless situation. It's like to be homeless, to be in those very cheap hotels in Israel that you lay in a big room, and there is both men and women in the same room, and the only thing you have is a bed, and then some somewhere to bring in your most valuable, well, your most important things into the box and lock it. And I have to do the same as I did in United States, because I had gold jewelers from my mother with me in case something happened that I need to have this gold and get the money for them. So I was laying with the gold under my body when I was sleeping. So that's how I maybe have to do it in Israel. So I have been homeless, and I don't want to be homeless in Israel. So if I am not going to get money to could lay on those hotel that is expensive, they are very expensive, but it's either to sleep in this room with men and women in the same room, or if I should have a private room, it is the expensive. It's nothing between like it was before to order from Sweden or on the internet. So I need to have that money for a hotel room to could stay. I am going to stay 2 months in Israel, so that it's very, very much money I need to have for to pay the hotels. So I it's somewhere I get the money from, and today I got money again, and I can't have those money on my bank account because of these bills that was made when I was homeless in United States, and my husband was in Sweden, and he spent so very much not money, he created much bills for me. When I come back I have so much bills to pay, so I couldn't pay, and it have stored up the whole time, more and more and more of this old that was created between December 2000 to May 24, and then when I come back to Sweden I didn't have any money. I was homeless in Sweden in 11 years, and I didn't have any money to pay the bills that have been created in those years, so it have built up. Some of the bills it's have taken away of those that want the money from me, but it still is much money to pay back. So I can't have them on the bank account, so I have to take them out from my bank account, because those that is I don't know what it's called in English, but those that is from the government that want to have the bills paid, they can go into the bank account and take the money, and they did it to me. I was almost finished to save up money for to buy me a mobile scooter like I have today, the scooter I have today, but I didn't get it. They thought I was not so bad, so I needed to have it. So instead I was thinking I'm going to store money and buy me this mobile scooter so I can walk out from my home. And just I was almost finished with storing the money and should buy one. Then they took it from my bank account, all the money, everything I had saved up. They took it, and it didn't pay all the bills that I have. It was only this tax, this that is around the amount of money. The money was still there, but all these other things that is coming with a bill, it was what they took, and I don't know if they took, because I was in shock over it. So I don't know if they only took it on their own, these people. So I don't keep money on my bank account more than what I am allowed to have to live on. So I try to hide the money that I get in some way, because if I take the money out from the bank account, they can't tell me to bring it back because I have spent it. I tell them, and this is for the hotels in Israel. So if it will happen, it will happen that I am coming to Israel, but I am not going. Not going to fly to Israel if I don't have a hotel, a real decent hotel to sleep in. I need to have a private room on my own because my body is not healthy. My body is weak, so it can happen anything. It can happen, much things to me, and not only in the health, but also it's one reason why I go to Israel, because of the health, to get help of this, that my problem in the body that is on its way to kill me. I need to have real medical help, and then is it, of course, the main reason is my ancestor want to come back to Israel. So I do it because they are in my DNA, and they going with me. You know, they have coming and talking to me here. On in my podcast, so they are with me and they are going with me to Israel. So it's about them, those ancestors, what they will do to take me to Israel, and it's not on me. The only thing I can do is to take away the money from the bank account. That's the only thing I can do, and I paid a airline ticket to Israel that I have paid for that money that I have got. So it's built up, but still I don't know if I can make it to Israel. It's this pandemic is going on and increase now all over the world again, and I don't take the vaccine, but I say that I'm going to take the vaccine if it's in a pill. If it's going to be so I can take it oral, I will do it, because my body is so bad, so it have hard to melt a pill. So I take the pill and it's going through my body without to be melted, maybe. So in that way, I am not going to be very sick. But I can show it in Israel that I have taken the vaccine and enter in. Of course, I am going to have the mask on the whole time when I travel. So I don't know. I don't know if the spirit that is here on me, if it's want to say something, or it's something that the spirit is with me when I'm talking about Israel. But it was about Israel when the spirit come. But it took a little time for me to come back to what I was talking about. Those spirits it's like they mixed up with my thinking in my brain, and it's mixed up and a crash before they either start to talk again or they are talking. So I give some minute here for the spirit if it want to talk, and there is someone in that portal standing, and it's a man that is very tall. He's very tall. I can measure it because of the door, the opening of the door. I can measure it, and he's slim but very strong in his body. That's what he was when he was here on earth, and he is coming back to his earthly body when he's coming down here to talk. And he remind me about those Bible things in that I read yesterday of these memories, and it was about Elisha. And Elisha was in a cave, and God come and say to Elisha, Elisha, why are you here? That's God didn't want Elisha to hide. God wanted Elisha to continue and act what God wanted to tell Elisha, and not laying there in the cave and like waste the time, because the time is very short, because we don't live for a long time here on earth. Even if in the Bible they say they will very old or before they die. But today is it that most I don't know, but maybe it's 110 years old as most. So, and it's pretty short time. I can tell. In my age, we know how fast the life is going when we look back, and we feel like we are young inside us. But like my mother said, I feel like I am a young girl, but when I look in the mirror, I see an old lady, and that's what I am in now. I am in that time when my mother say this to me, and so it is very short life. So you should take care of your life and do the real thing, not living in this illusion and fantasy world. You need to create a real life for you, like you are a little God in yourself, because you can decide you if you want to live a life of waste of life. If you want to waste your life, that's up to you. But if you want to have a quality life, you can also choose that. It's up to you. That's why I say you are a small God, because you can change your life. It's in your heart what you want to. The heart communicates with your brain, and it you have to listen to yourself. You have to not listen to other people. You have to be true to yourself. To really, when I left, we separated. We go away from each other. My daughter's father and I have lived my life in his life. My daughter's father's life I have lived for 16 years. And when I was on my own, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, because I have lived what he wanted to live. That was my life also. So I was saying to myself, who am I? And that's what you're going to. The Spirit is here very much. This is what the Spirit wants me to say. I say, who am I? What did I do before I met this man and lived 16 years with him? What did I before that? What did I wanted to do, and what make me happy before I met him? So I have to go back to find myself. And but I went into a bad man again. But for a little while, when I was on my own, without any man, I was thinking, who am I? So that's what you should say to yourself also. Have a little talk with yourself in the truth, not lie to yourself. And it's always good to write it up on the paper to remind you what was it I was into before everything crashed, everything was going down. And maybe you find it's the spirit is telling you that you have stored some things in a box. You have a box deep in, I think it's up in, like up in the ceiling, up where it's very high, and you have not been there for years, and there is dust on it, and it's something you don't want to touch, but it's time for you to touch it now, to come back to where what who you were before everything was going down. So it start to be children around me now, so I can't do any more recording. But God bless you, and God will keep you.